Welcome to Season 4 of the Bird Joy Podcast. Your hosts, Dexter Patterson and Jason Hall, are back with more birds, more bird joy, and plenty of laughs along the way. Each episode brings new stories, fun conversations, and a whole flock of good vibes. We're happy you're here. We really miss the homies, and we hope you enjoy this season. You ready? Let's go.
We're back with another fire guest, like Jason says. Today, we're joined by Vikas, aka Vikas Wildlife, a wildlife filmmaker and visual storyteller whose work takes him from the Amazon rainforest to the polar Arctic. Vikas specializes in documenting animal behavior in direct relationship to habitat, capturing moments that are not only visually stunning, but deeply immersive. What makes Vikas's work especially unique is that he composes the original music for his films, blending sound and image into one cohesive story. His background in music started in his teenage years playing in local bands, and today that passion shows up in his documentaries, brand collaborations, and short film storytelling across platforms like Reels and TikTok and YouTube, Instagram too. That's where I found the homie. Vikas has edited multiple wildlife and conservation documentaries with over 100,000 views across platforms, collaborates with major brands, and is also an award-winning wildlife photographer. In 2025, he expanded into photojournalism and is now venturing into music video filming as well. We're excited to talk about storytelling, creativity, adventure, and what it really takes to create meaningful wildlife content in some of the most difficult places on Earth. Vikas, welcome to the Bird Joy Podcast.
You all have the best intros in the game. I'm going to start by saying I'm hyped. Let's go.
I get so excited just to introduce the people we are blessed to talk to. So, I don't know, every time we get to interview somebody, I'm like, man, we got to make this introduction worthy of the work.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. And then we get to alternate who does them. And it just adds another vibe. It's a Bird Joy podcast thing for sure.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Super happy to have you. We follow you and you just randomly send us stuff. And you're like, hey, check this out. And it's like some rare penguin and you're like on a boat somewhere and you're getting like this eye level shot. And you send it so nonchalant as if it's just like, you're just randomly doing it as if you just had a free Saturday. So we really had to get you in here to be like, yo, where is Vikas today? What is he doing? So you've traveled, and I'm also I'll say a former musician, always a musician, but you've traveled from local band practice rooms to some of the most remote ecosystems on the planet. Take us back to the beginning. How did you first get pulled into the wildlife part of this, and then the storytelling? Where did it start, man?
I'm probably different from most of your guests. I'd love to say that I loved nature growing up, but I didn't. I didn't have much of a connection to nature until the pandemic. So I'm fairly new into nature. Birds were my gateway drug. And I got into birding during the pandemic. It was nothing better to do. And I got really obsessive with it, as I'm sure you guys did. I want to know how you all got into it too. So I'm going to be interviewing you a little bit, but I'm interested in both of your stories as well, to be honest. About 3 years ago, I got into filming wildlife, and my friends, shout out Danny and David, were getting married in Mindo, Ecuador. You all know about Mindo, Ecuador at all?
I do not.
All I know is in Ecuador, there are harpy eagles.
It's nuts. So yeah. So I didn't see a harpy eagle, but Mindo, Ecuador is one of the best birding towns in the whole world. And so I just happened to be going to a wedding there, and I was a new birder. I was probably 1 month into birding. So I bought the field guide to Ecuador. So I had the field guide to the United States, and then I got the field guide to Ecuador. And the thicknesses were vastly different between the two.
Oh yeah.
And I was mainly just I didn't use optics, just bird by eye. So I got a pair of binoculars, and I was really interested in the hummingbird section of the book. But there's a couple hundred species at least of hummingbirds there. So I started looking at hummingbirds locally, and I came to the conclusion that there was no chance I was going to be able to identify hummingbirds on the spot in Ecuador. So So I went on eBay and I bought like the cheapest camera I could buy. I thought I'd take photos of birds, like be pretty easy. I'd never had a camera before that. And I thought I would just use those to ID the hummingbirds specifically. And I'd get back and I'd sell that camera when I got back on eBay. I had like, a couple hundred species to my life list. But the second I actually took a photo of a bird and then switched it to video mode and started getting some audio recordings. Yeah, I just got obsessive with it, to be honest.
That's wild, man. That you
give me the quick.
I was gonna say that's wild. That like very rarely is someone like, hey, I started birding during the pandemic, and then here in 2026, early 2026, they're like, yeah, I just got back from Antarctica. We had Tarek on, the homie from Chicago.
I heard that episode.
Just like started birding and then just shot straight up to doing something, just immersed himself in it. So it sounds like you had a lot of that coming too.
Yeah, maybe not as serious of a lister as Tarek. He's done some impressive stuff up in this county. He's got the record in the county, yeah, for the big year.
Oh yeah,
yeah, both of them. He has the top
He's
two.
got 1 and 2. Wow. Yeah.
He out here trying to make Michael Jordan proud in Chicago.
The crazy thing, he broke his record with the whooping crane this time. So
that's stupid.
How crazy you got to be to do it? He did it 2 years in a row, right?
Years in a row.
Crazy you got to be to do that.
Yeah,
no, that's great.
I love hearing the pandemic connection because that was like the gateway for a lot of people, man. Like birding has been having a moment ever since then. It feels like ever since the pandemic. It seems like birding has like become the cool thing to do. People are outside and they're paying attention to birds. So I'm not shocked. That sucked you in as well.
When did you all get started? Give me the quick summary if you don't mind.
I always tell people I always liked birds. So even when I was a little kid, but I didn't care what they were. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like red bird, blue bird, black bird, big old white bird,
you got your own names for the species.
But didn't care, like I didn't care if it was a mute swan at the local pond and I didn't know that they were invasive. I didn't know what any of them were. Blue jay, cardinal, I didn't know. Crow, I didn't know, And then as I got older, I just started paying attention more. My grandpa was a birder, so it's kind of like something. They always tell me, you got a lot of your grandpa in you. I think I got to shout out my grandpa who was the birder, and I've always kind of liked him, man. Now, he ain't no going back,
No going back.
Yeah, and I just started. I had a class in high school that introduced me to it. Similar, like I've always liked nature, but I wasn't paying attention to birds. Like I was just like any other person that liked nature. Like I was like, I can't wait to see a tiger one day. And like, I want to go to Africa one day, or I want to do this, and this. Yeah, that class my senior year of high school slowed it down for me, made me sketch birds in the forest. And then just like Dexter, just 20 years later, here I am.
Well, you all are OGs.
Yeah. You know what I love when I started learning about you and checking out your content is so good. Then I found out that like you make the music for your videos and stuff too. And then I was even more nerding out over your stuff because music has been a big part of my life as well. I mean, I owned a recording studio for a long time and toured the country as a hip hop artist. So like I've always loved music. So that kind of really drove me to you even more. Talk a little bit about your early years playing in bands. Like how do you think it shapes the way you think about rhythm and pacing in your films? And the emotions, right? I always say like music. I always tell my students when you're setting music to a video, it's not random. Like it should not be random. You don't just grab just anything and then throw it behind it and you're done. So those emotions that you're able to bring into your film, how has all of that early influence played into how you create your content today?
Yeah, so no, you're exactly right. Music is the emotional language of storytelling. And I self-taught piano at the end of high school and was in a little band for a little bit, largely dropped music off as I got into college and my job out of college. And birds brought me back into music, to be honest. And now I got a little recording studio in my house. I got the birds to thank for a lot of expensive stuff I've bought. But I mean, you all know when you're out birding, it's just as much audio sensation as it is visual.
Sure is.
And I was pretty, I grew up oblivious to a lot of nature. And when I started hearing the different songs of birds, I was shocked at how beautiful some of them are. So it brought my passion for music right back right back to me. I started making music, and for the last few years, I've been pretty obsessive about trying to improve my skills as a camera operator for wildlife and as a music producer. Getting deeper into it, hoping to improve as much as I can.
Yeah,
Love
man.
it.
That sounds like you're very much a I'm gonna do this, so I'm just gonna go learn it. Like it sounds like with the piano. If you just started birding in the pandemic, and now you're, I was looking at your website earlier today, and there's just like penguins floating across the water, and that opening video on your website, like you were like in it, right? The videography. And so it sounds like you have like this kind of collection of things that you've gotten throughout life, right? Like what was the moment where you were like, I absolutely can put my own music behind this footage? Were you going somewhere else for your music before, or was that always the plan?
No, so I got back into the music as I started getting footage of birds, and I didn't really want to figure out how to like license. I knew I needed to put music into my videos to make them compelling.
Sure.
And I didn't really want to, I was a little bit too lazy to get into like figuring out how to license music. And, I had the skill back in the day. I wondered if I could still make music. The first time I really put it all together was when I went to Colombia on a birding trip. And I went with some birding all-stars. Like, I don't know if you know Diego Calderon.
Yeah.
I call him the godfather of Colombian birding. He joined the trip for a little bit, and some other really top birders. And I thought I had to make that video. I had to do it justice. Like, Colombian birds are so beautiful, and there's so many of them. And we got to see some of the real specialty and rare birds of Colombia. So I sat down and YouTube University found out how to produce as professionally as I could. And that was really the first soundtrack I made to a video. It was a video on the birds of Colombia.
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
now when you're editing wildlife footage, you use a very small percentage of what you're actually taking, and it can get repetitive and monotonous getting through all your footage and trying to make a story out of it. But the music brings so much excitement into the editing process for me that it gets me through the edit. And I've been pretty busy lately. I've been balancing client video projects with my own little mini documentaries that I make. And I also have a day job as well. So I've got to be efficient. And the best way I've found to be efficient is to be motivated when I'm editing and make some music. What's better than making some music and going through some wildlife footage and putting it all together into a story?
Sounds amazing.
And speaking of storytelling in the wild is wild, literally. You have like no control, right? You don't know what the weather's going to be like. You don't know what the animals are going to do. You don't know nothing. When you have no control, right? And it's pretty wild. And when I think about your work, it focuses heavily on animal behavior in relation to habitat. How do you approach storytelling differently when maybe the environment itself could be the main character?
Yeah, so I'd say in wildlife cinematography, you can have plans and you can have a shot list, and most of that goes out the window the second you get out there. So I'm mainly going out, and maybe unlike a traditional birder who's going out trying to identify every single bird they see, I'm going out there and looking for stories. So looking for like unique behaviors or connections between the animals that I'm looking for and the habitat. So I'm really taking what nature gives me when I'm doing storytelling. And then in the edit, I put those moments together to tell the story of what I'm seeing. But you're right, it's wild. And it's really, unless you got a big crew and several months to dedicate to capturing behaviors, you're pretty much taking what nature's giving you when it comes to storytelling in the wild.
Yeah, you're not promised anything on return visits or anything. So like you got to get what's there. And I love that you're intentional about looking for the action, looking for where is the actual story, right? Where is something unique here that is just happening right in front of me? And that's documentary, right? Like that's documenting what you're just seen. And I love that so much. Is just pay attention, man, and look for the stories because they do unfold in front of us. We just got to be ready for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite things about your Instagram page is when you just have a random story and it's just like a shot of your camera pointed at some random bush and you have a question of like, what am I here for? And in my head, I'm like, what is he there for? He's in the Rio Grande Valley. What's the homie trying to get? And then seeing it kind of play out through time. Like sometimes you'll post like when you do actually get a shot or like just some more information. And like, I find that to be so interesting. And you talked a little bit on it, like you can't necessarily plan out what exactly you want the birds to do. But when you arrive in a place that you've never been before, I'm sure you've done some research, but like, what is your creative process? It sounds like you do let it come to you, but do you have like like a set travel plan, a set environment that you want to be in? Like, talk us through how you plan that out a little bit more logistically.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. So I'm currently in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, and I'm working on the biggest project to date. And we can get into that if you want. Traditionally speaking, I've gotten an opportunity to go on a trip, or the company that's running the trip needs some content or footage, and so I'll get an opportunity to go on a trip, like to Antarctica or up to the high Arctic, and I'm sort of trying to get whatever I can within the bounds of what they already have planned. That's what I've been doing a lot historically, or going to an area for a company that needs footage of a product in a certain area. Right now, I bought myself 3 months in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. It's a pretty important area in terms of it needs a lot of help conservation wise right now. And it's one of the amazing areas of America. It's one of the areas that really makes me proud to be an American. And there's just been so much commercial development. There's so much activity because it's, the political border of US and Mexico.
Sure.
So I bought myself 3 months here. And this is a lot more structured. I spent the whole first month basically just scouting out, looking to see what I think I could find and then capture at a later date. So I was going to every park, every piece of private land that I could get into that people would give me permission for along the Rio Grande along the Rio Grande River, which is the border between US and Mexico, and really trying to document the beauty of the wildlife there and also what the state of nature is here, because it's one of the best habitats for a group of unique birds that can pretty much only be found here in the United States. And there's just so much habitat loss here. There's small percentages of some really critical habitats left here. But back to your question, I did spend a lot of time here scouting out with the intention of then bringing, my bigger camera rigs and getting the animals used to them and then trying to capture a specific thing. So when I'm pointing at branches here, I know that there's something likely to happen there. And it's oftentimes a waiting game.
Awesome.
Love it. You mentioned going to Colombia for your first birding trip, which is kind of crazy. Hi, Colombia. And then going to Arctic, Antarctica. What's been your favorite trip so far? I mean, it feels like it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but why did that trip specifically, your favorite trip, stand out from a creative process?
Yeah, so one trip that stood out, in the summer of 2025, I went up into the really high Arctic, close to the North Pole, with a company called Polar X, and I got an opportunity with them that just came out of nowhere. And they're truly one of the coolest companies in the world. They're responsible for helping film sequences for like some of the biggest Hollywood movies, some of the biggest documentaries when they need an Arctic scene. So they filmed scenes for like Avengers, big movies like that. And then also some of the biggest wildlife documentaries like Frozen Planet. Ooh, and they delivered the opening shot for Frozen Planet 2, which is one of my absolute favorite wildlife documentaries. So they reached out to me. They saw some videos I'd posted on YouTube and reached out. And I got to go up into the high Arctic with their team that, has been responsible for some of the greatest wildlife shots I think ever captured. I think I had 48 hours notice for that trip. They reached out. Somebody probably fell out, and that's how I got the opportunity. And they reached out, so I had to pack my bags, go to the top of the world. No idea what it was like up in the high Arctic. It was my first time going there. But it was really nice because, getting up to the high Arctic is extremely expensive. And from a filmmaking perspective, getting a crew out there is a lot of the time you have to be really budget conscious. So documentaries in the past have been really focused on the mammals there. Polar bears are the main target for most documentary work up there. I got a particular liking to birds. So I was doing a lot of birding up there, and there are quite a few bird species that are pretty special up there. So I got to film some really cool behavior, including the mating display of an ivory gull. And I've been searching. I don't actually think anyone's ever filmed.
You just said display. Ivory gull. Look, you just made his whole life just happen right there.
You know about the ivory gull?
Jason is like the biggest gull nerd I know. So
it's the number one gull on my list in North America. Homie.
Okay.
Like, when you got the mating, so you were in because people only see them usually when they get down here for something, but you were up there in their home. Like, you saw them. I'm done. I'm throwing my headphones off. Get out of here. This is,
Jason, you seen Savin's goal?
yeah. I've seen it.
Oh, you have. See, now it's my turn to be jealous. I'm equally jealous of you seeing Savin's goal.
But man,
You just
Ivory,
made
man,
Jason's day. We just added some goals to our conversation.
that's just incredible. And like the fact that it was 48 hours. And they were like, yo, you trying to roll? And like, I imagine that gif from The Office when Steve Carell is like, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Like, that's what I imagine. You were just like, oh my God, I got 48 hours to get ready to go to the top of the world. And like, that sounds super incredible. It's kind of a side question. Like, what was that like when they just slid into the DMs and were like, yo, you trying to roll? Like, what was that next 48 hours like getting ready to go?
Crazy. Barely slept. So I got a day job, and I'm always, I don't know about you all, but I am always low on PTO. I pretty much always have zero. I'm in a red most of the year. So I'm begging people to help out with some of my responsibilities, trying to get some more PTO time. I ended up having to work a pretty decent amount remotely while I was up there.
While you're at the top of the world.
While I was at the top of the world.
Hey, we got to make it work, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
The boat had Starlink, but there was like a worldwide Starlink outage for a few days. I was literally on a call for work. And then there was Starlink went out for like 36 hours and nobody at my work knew where I was. But it was, I was trying to, it's not even easy to book a flight to get up. I flew into Longyearbyen, which is the northernmost town in the world. And even just trying to logistically get up there, it's like 30 hours of travel. So I was just the opportunity, I had known about Polar X for a while. And, you write down like 5 companies that would be a dream to work with. They're on my list of 5. So I just had to make it happen.
Had to make it work. That's just a really, really incredible experience, man. And I wonder, like, your answer doesn't have to be Ivory Gold, but like you filmed some really amazing creatures. Is there any animal or even type of behavior or a challenging situation or an emotional connection that you have with an animal? Like, is there any set of film that you've gotten that's your favorite for whatever reason?
That's a really good question. One of the good things about filming is if you're birding, maybe you've seen like herons so many times that they're not interesting when you see them. But when you're filming, herons' behavior can be so variable and there's so many different stories you can tell. I've spent, herons are one of the things locally that I can see. I'm based right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And the wildlife ain't great out there. but there are a couple of different heron species. And when I go to my local spot, it's like I'm friends with the herons. They let me get super close to them. And I've spent probably 2 years trying to collect a variety of different behaviors that herons do. One thing, so I haven't put this out yet, but I've collected the footage to make a mini documentary on green herons specifically. And the behavior I've really wanted to highlight is sometimes they'll catch tiny fish that are probably too tiny to make a caloric impact for them. They'll throw them back in the water and use it to bait. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah, they're so cool, man. The first time I saw a green heron chum the water, I was like blown. I was like, what did I just see? Like, this is crazy, And
That's a spark moment.
Yeah, and then they'll like, if they don't get a bite on it, they'll pick it back up and throw it back in the water. Like they're literally fishing. It's so crazy. Yeah. Like it is mind blowing.
They invented fishing.
Yeah, right. And the fact that they're so quick that they can like they don't have a line and a hook. Like they wait and they have to strike fast enough to catch a fish that's trying to snag that little snack and dip back down. Like that's the part that gets me. Like they're like just lightning fast, So crazy.
They are the most impressive fishers out there.
Yeah, I think so.
Bro, you talked about 48 hours notice. You're going to go to the top of the world, 30 plus hours of travel. You got a job that you're still supposed to be working. Talk to us about talk to us about, and maybe it was that experience, the most challenging footage that you've had to capture, whether it was weather, terrain, animal behavior. What was the most challenging footage for you to capture?
Yeah, hard to say anything other than Antarctica.
Okay.
That is a cruel climate. I don't think humans are meant to be there. But I really wanted to capture penguins porpoising. That's when they typically, as groups of penguins, surface out of the water, in and out of the water. So they're swimming and jumping out of the water and then coming right back in.
Is that the footage on your website, on the homepage?
I think so. Yeah, it's a stunning behavior to see.
Bro.
And it's pretty tough to capture. Bro. Most of the time when you're in Antarctica, you're on a boat, and if you're getting on the land, there's a lot of regulations, and penguins are kind of clumsy on land. You don't really get the vibe of a penguin on the land. When you get them on water, they basically turn into a fish. Like they are super athletic creatures in the water. And I really wanted to capture them swimming, which is difficult to do. Usually you're on an icebreaker ship of some sort when you go to Antarctica. So you're pretty high up. You know, you got to get that eye level footage of an animal to make it really special. So I went out on a kayak and spent, I don't even know how much time, kayaking around the ice water and hoping that a group would porpoise towards me. And I eventually got it. So I'm making a short little documentary on my trip to Antarctica, and that's sort of the pivotal moment. So I'm giving out spoilers. I spent a lot of time trying to capture penguins porpoising at eye level in a little kayak in the ice water out there. But it was, you know, the weather was pretty rough. It was unseasonably windy when I went there, like 60, 70 mile an hour wind. And my face was cut up. It was just bleeding when I would go inside from the hail and the wind. And
Vikas, I'm looking at this footage, and you're on a kayak, bro. You're insane.
On a kayak?
You're insane. I'm just saying, like,
Eddie
this
hands.
is
Listen, folks listening, VikasWildlife.com.
Oh my goodness.
Vikas wildlife.com. Just go there.
Yeah.
Check it out. You won't make it past the first page, I promise you. But are those what's the word I'm looking for? Gentoo penguins? Are they
Gentoo penguins?
Those are Gentoo?
Yeah. So mainly Gentoo penguins, a couple of Adelie and chinstraps in some of the footage I got. The three species that I spent a lot of time recording were the Gentoo, the Adelie, and the chinstrap penguins. And I didn't see an emperor penguin, so I have an excuse to go back to, if anyone wants to take me back out to Antarctica, I'm open.
Listen, you and me both, man. I'll just go to carry your camera gear. Like if you need somebody, like I'm down.
I was gonna say, put Jason in your carry-on luggage so he can get an ivory.
Yeah, like I'll just carry your luggage and crack jokes, keep everybody light on their feet. Like, let me know. So
you have to go to Antarctica with you, Jason.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Listen, universe, make it happen. We all need to go. Wildlife filmmaking is a lot of waiting and a lot of long stretches where nothing is happening. And I think that's some of the things that I appreciate about you and my other friends that are wildlife photographers or cinematographers is 90% of the time is nothing. And then you get that moment. So how do you stay engaged during those, like when you're sitting under that bush in the Rio Grande waiting for the special bird you want to get and they're not showing up for 8 hours? Like, how do you keep yourself moving?
Yeah. So it's probably even more than 90% for me. Maybe I'm not as good at predicting, but I'd say maybe like 95 to 99% of the time I'm waiting and not getting anything. And I'm not a particularly patient person, but I'd say I'm pretty stubborn. And so it's mainly stubbornness to get the shot that I want that drives me to sit there and wait there. I know this is controversial. I kind of want to get both of your takes on this, but I listen to music when I'm out in nature. And I know in birding, that's like
interesting.
You're missing some bird calls.
Interesting.
When you're sitting in a spot for hours, sometimes you got to. And I'm listening to your podcast. I'm listening to other podcasts.
Okay. All right.
I'll allow it.
Are y'all are not listening to any music or anything when you're out there?
I bird by ear too much. There'll be times you might not see anything, but you might hear it, and then that could change, the direction you're gonna go, or you know what I mean, or it might say, "Oh, I'm gonna stay here because I heard it."
That's true.
It's hard for me to like not be listening to the environment around me when I bird by ear so much. That's literally how I make my videos. Like I'll hear something, and I'm like, "All right, let's find it," And it was so funny because one of the homies was like, bro goes out and looks for something and finds it every time. And then I was like, I should do a blooper reel when I don't find it. I'm just going to see like a pouting Dexter. And that's the most disappointing person on the planet. You know what I mean? Just pouting, you'd be shocked. I'm probably, if it's baseball, I'm batting pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, I'll look at it from the lens of baseball, and that means I'm an elite hitter. But
what percentage? So when you look into the camera and you say, let's go, and you're off,
probably,
what percentage are you completing the video?
30-40% of the time.
Okay, that's elite for baseball.
Yeah.
Although I would love to see a video that just said, "Who wants to help me find nothing?"
Nothing. Or I should just do the whole intro, right? And then we just don't find it.
And then just nothing. You just leave people hanging and be like, wait, but did he find it?
So who knows? Maybe in 2026 I just hurt a whole bunch of feelings, what I mean? Just start not finding nothing.
I'm not going to be the reason that happens. I'm not endorsing that. Keep the videos the same. We all love them. They all bring excitement to us. They get us hyped to go birding.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. This is crazy. You talked about being out, bro, for maybe hours at a time. You're in top of the world. The wind's beating you to heck, and you're just like miserable. Is there a moment in the field that kind of sticks with you that reminded you, like, this is why I do this? You said you're stubborn. Have you had a moment where you're like, this is it? Like, this is why I'm doing this work?
Yeah, a lot of those moments. One that comes to mind is when I was in, do you know the habitat called the Paramo up in Colombia? It's real high elevation above the plant line. And there's a really unique set of plants. This is in the Andes of Colombia. There's a couple of hummingbirds up there that live in sort of postage stamp size ranges, like only on one mountain where this Paramo habitat exists. And when I was up there trying to capture footage of a hummingbird called the Buffy helmet crest, which is a super rare, super localized hummingbird in the, I think it's like 17, 18,000 feet up in the air, cold, windy habitat. You see a hummingbird that is like all the iridescence of a hummingbird living up there.
It looks like it's like a peacock mixed with a hummingbird. This bird is crazy looking.
Yeah, mixed with a titmouse.
With the
mixed with a titmouse.
This is crazy.
But it's like this big, tiny,
couple inches long, and I'm like, I got nothing to complain about. I got a jacket here. I can protect myself. And this tiny little hummingbird, and it lives on the slope of a volcano. I've got nothing to complain about. But that was definitely a moment where getting to film a hummingbird that lives in such a small range and such an incredibly cool habitat.
Sure.
That was definitely one of those moments for me.
Bro, as I was Googling this, I went to your website too and looking at your photography too. And like, your pictures are fire too. Like, you got some good stuff on there, man. Make sure y'all go check out the homie's website.
Thank you. Thank you. I will say I do video like 95% of the time. I'm usually focused on video, but I've gotten a couple of commercial assignments for photography where I focused on photography. And it's sort of a newer thing that I'm starting to really enjoy.
That's so interesting because most people go the other way. They start with photography, then they realize, like, maybe I'm just talking about myself, but like, I always want to reach out to you and be like, homie, like, where do I start? Because I can't go buy the $7,000 red camera body. I don't, like, where do I even go? And like, it's just so interesting to hear you take this path of, it almost seems like a little bit against the grain, not into wildlife growing up. Got into it with COVID, jumped straight into videography, had to reconnect with the music side of things and bring it together, right? It's just really, really interesting. Have you
appreciate that?
Yeah, man. I just think it's a really interesting story. Like, when you've been out on these assignments, has anything like happened that, different species came along, some circumstances in wildlife circumstances changed the direction of that project where you guys, shifted the focus?
Yeah, exactly that. When I was in Costa Rica, I have a friend named Juan Diego Vargas who lives in Costa Rica, who has started one of the coolest nature centers I know of. He bought farmland, so agriculture land, and restored it back to its native habitat. The project's been going on for about a decade, and the purpose was to try and attract as much wildlife with a particular focus on birds. He's got like hundreds of some of the coolest and rarest birds come into his little plot of I think it's like 10 or 20 acres.
I met Juan at Indiana Dunes Birding Festival, and we actually talked about you. I sent you a message when I was there, and I was like, Juan told me to tell you what's up, and they got like a super cool. Juan told me to tell you what's up when we were there, and we were hanging out together, and he was telling me about this new business idea that they were doing where they were setting up cameras on all their feeders and stuff, so people could
helping out a little bit with that.
Like what you did with that event that you all did where you were birding.
Oh yeah, the virtual birding in Panama. Yeah.
So they have some stuff that they're doing down there, Juan, on his land, where they want to be doing stuff like that, where people can watch the cameras and stuff. But they were there, and they were a couple of the tour guides actually for the Indiana Bird Festival, which was really cool. And I guess they've been going there for some years, and it's a good way for them to kind of promote the business that they got going on down there. So shout out to the homie Juan.
And shout out to his nature center, The Nest, which
cool, man.
Has been his project. But yeah, so I was filming a little mini documentary to just tell the world about this incredibly cool project that he's working on. And I think, we've lost so much habitat worldwide, and in every single country, a lot of habitat has been lost to development. I think a big portion of bringing nature back to where it needs to be is going to be restoring land. And I'd say they're at the forefront in Costa Rica of land restoration and how effective it can be. But we were down there and we got a call that a rufous-vented ground cuckoo, which is one of the rarest birds in Costa Rica, an absolute ghost species down there, was spotted. About an hour away. We dropped like 2 days of filming just going out there trying to film this rufous-vented ground cuckoo.
You gotta.
you know the deal.
I feel like people get divorces over chasing that bird. Like that's that's a really, really hard one to get. So that's cool.
So it was like an hour or two away from where we were staying. The whole ride over, one day goes calling people who are looking for the bird, and they're trying to make like international travel to come down and try and see it while it was down there. And we found a way to incorporate it into the story we were trying to tell, because the bird can actually get into areas in the outskirts of where the nest is situated. And I think it's a matter of time before they, he's trying to get land adjacent to where he is. And there's a national park that's not that far away. And if he can create a wildlife corridor, I think people are going to be going down to the nest one day looking for the rufous-vented ground cuckoo. Hopefully not getting divorces over it. Hopefully they'll be able to go there quick, get it, go home, and keep their families in order.
Sure.
We got to go to Costa Rica.
We got to go to all these places.
Juan said he wanted us both to come down there too.
When's the Bird Joy tour coming along?
We
can do that.
We're going to have to make it happen, man. Because
we really are. Like it's no excuse at this point. Listen, just like my brain, like I have like a now list of places that I need to go and things that I need to go see just after this much of this conversation. Let's talk a little bit about your work with some of these brands, right? So you work with like major optics brands like Swarovski. How do you balance, kind of your creative freedom with what the expectation of the brand is? And that's something that a lot of creators have to deal with, and doing all that while staying kind of true to what your style is, what your storytelling voice is. Like, how have you come through that journey?
Yeah. So initially, I started accepting, or I got my first commercial assignment about a year ago from Swarovski Optic. And when I started, I wasn't saying no to any client work, especially from a company like Swarovski. And I really wanted to prove my worth to them. And I've had a great relationship with them. They've kept me busy over the last year, but right now it's getting really tough to balance day job, client work. I got a couple more clients that are sort of consistent and recurring, along with Swarovski Optic. And so on this current trip in the Rio Grande Valley, I kind of had to put a pause on the client work I'm doing, because I really wanted to get the best footage I could get for this story that I'm trying to tell here in the Rio Grande Valley. But it's a struggle. I'm analyzing, as work comes in on a case-by-case basis. And I think it's going to be a struggle going forward as well. Swarovski Optic they've done such a great job with conservation. They've actually, they've got some projects in Costa Rica and in Central America where they're buying land and restoring it as well. And those are really impactful to me. And I love to help with those kinds of missions. They got a little rainforest called the Swarovski Optic Rainforest in the Oso Peninsula of Costa Rica. Worth checking out. But I also, I like to make these little mini documentaries where I have complete control and I can make the music. I can do the voiceover, put the story together myself. It's a tough balance. I don't have a good answer for you. I'm still figuring it out right now.
If your first assignment was a year ago, you're still, I say, you go to the website, beginner is not the word that would come to mind, but you're still a beginner.
No, beginner.
Beginner in terms of these business relationships, and probably will come across some folks that want you to do something that you're not really feeling right, but it doesn't sound like you've had to deal with too much of that just yet. And it's really nice to hear that you have some good relationships so far.
I will say I've gotten opportunities for stuff that's not, from people to film stuff that's not like nature related at all. And I've pretty much like turned down all of those kinds of things. I got opportunities to film a car collection and stuff like that. And I'm really trying to focus my time. I got limited time. I got to focus on nature.
Ain't no cars in Antarctica. We not going. No Gen 2 penguins. You kidding me?
That's right. Tell them.
Yeah, you got to find that balance. And you've talked about you've done long form. You love doing the short form documentaries. You do short form social media content. You're now doing photojournalism. How does your mindset shift between those different formats, or do you kind of go into it just looking for the story like you mentioned earlier?
When I'm doing a client project, I upfront really try to figure out what the goal that the client's trying to achieve is. Like in terms of photojournalism, usually I'm trying to capture a specific story. And so I am pre-production coming up with a story with the client that they think will work for their brand in terms of endorsement, and then going out there really focused. Like one example is I did an article for Swarovski Optic on migrating bald eagles. And there's a place not too far from where I live called Conowingo Dam where it can be a couple hundred bald eagles. I don't know if you've heard of that spot. It's kind of a legendary spot along the East Coast. Yeah. So I went there and there was a lot of different birds other than bald eagles and a lot of ones that are cool. And I saw some really cool behavior. It was really hard for me to not go into video mode and start trying to film it. But I tried to stay, I had to stay really focused and capture the things that were pertinent to the story. So, I mean, a lot of what I do is determined before I go out for client assignments and just staying really, really focused on what I'm trying to accomplish there. Yeah, I just try to stay focused on whatever the assignment is that I'm doing.
Sure. It makes sense. And, Conowingo is a great place. And you go down there and you see just like 800 bros with like 1,000 millimeter lenses and everybody's trying to get this same shot. The bald eagle hitting the water, bringing the fish out. Everybody's trying to get the shot that everybody's seen. But it's interesting that you've been over there because I like going when there's nobody there, when there's no eagles. Because there's actually the trail down there has some amazing warblers in the spring, like tons of
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just speaking of spaces, I'm sure there's people listening now that are inspired and maybe you've put them over the hump in terms of saying, yes, I'm going to try to do this. So what advice would you give like emerging visual storytellers, right, who want to tell meaningful stories, but might be a little overwhelmed by the gear or the platforms or the software or the algorithm? Where would you tell them to start?
It's a good question. So, I mean, people have probably heard this. It's really not about the gear you have. And I think with filming wildlife, it's sort of an athletic pursuit. You have to have the discipline of almost an athlete and go out there and practice. And it's not really a concept that's thought of much in filming wildlife or photographing wildlife. Usually you go out there and you see something and you're trying to take photos of what you see. I think the biggest piece of advice I could give to people trying to do this is go out and whatever your subject is, don't focus on that. Go out there with the purpose of trying to practice a skill. Like manual focus is really important in wildlife cinematography. So I'll go out and I'll focus on a leaf and I'll like take my camera off the leaf and see how quick I can get on the leaf, focus on it. Leaf moves in the wind, try and keep the focus on the leaf as it's moving. I do a lot of boring stuff like that. And you got to have discipline to practice those kinds of things because it's not super exciting to do. To get really, really good, you have to have that. Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the story of Kobe Bryant when he like lost a playoff game or something. They were like, yeah, we came back to the stadium and he was there 3 hours later just shooting the same shot that he missed during the game like 1,000 times. And I'm like, that's awesome, man. Cause that's really good advice. Like, cause people think like, oh, I did it once, I can do it all the time. But like, you really have to practice. And I forgot manual focus with cinematography. Like I could never.
Most of what you're doing when you're filming wildlife is manual focusing. But I'm surprised. I know you were born in Cali, weren't you, Jason? I know you're living in Philly right now, and I'm bringing up Kobe Bryant as a 76ers fan.
Listen, I am a Lakers fan, but we live different lives these days, so it's fine.
Oh, this has been so inspiring, so fantastic. Now we got to put you on the hot seat, Vikas.
Put me on the hot seat. Bring it on.
It's time for a little lightning round action. So quick answers. First thing that comes to mind. All right, you ready?
Sip of water real quick. All right, let's go.
Favorite animal you have ever filmed?
Gentoo penguin.
All right, solid. Favorite habitat to film?
Paramo, high elevation above the plant line in the central Andes of Colombia. Boom.
Most difficult environment you've worked in?
I'm gonna say the high Arctic. If you go north enough, you go farther north than any land, and you're getting into pack ice. and or just ice where there's ice frozen around the center of the North Pole. Not easy to be there.
Sure. What's your most memorable single moment behind the camera?
Ooh. I'm gonna go to a moment we already talked about, but filming the courtship and mating display of the ivory gull.
Damn it.
I rub it in, Jason.
Put that in there on purpose. One piece of gear you can't live without.
I have a parabolic microphone.
Jay got one of those too.
You got one of those? Yeah, you can really zoom in on a point, and I bring that everywhere I go.
Oh, it's incredible, man. I actually created a contraption to strap it to my Swarovski scope, so I can like point it at whatever my scope's looking at. So it's been great. Editing or filming?
Filming.
Music first or visuals first?
Visuals first.
All right, last one here. Dream species you still need to film.
Oh, there's so many.
You only get one.
Like picking a favorite bird, right?
Yeah. What kind of question is that? It changes all the time.
You get one, bro. You get one.
But right now, I'm gonna say, since I'm in the Rio Grande Valley and I'm pretty close to it, a whooping crane. I can probably drive 2 or 3 hours and have a reasonable shot of seeing one. And they're one of the endangered species in the United States, and they're huge and very cool birds.
Yeah, they nest here in Wisconsin, so I'm very lucky.
Have either y'all seen them?
Yeah, Dexter just has them hanging around.
Yeah, I see him every year. It's funny that I just say that. Yeah, I just see him every year. You want to see a whooping crane? Holla at your boy.
Oh, I'm coming up to Wisconsin.
Vikas, this has been an incredible conversation. We've been wanting to do this. I know our listeners are going to love this. Your work sits at that intersection of sound, story, and wild places. It's been so inspiring to hear how you are very intentional, how creative you are from process, start to finish. Just, man, thank you for taking some time to share your journey with us today. And for everybody out there listening, make sure you check out his work. Go to that website. I'm telling you, it's amazing. You can also go off and see the YouTube videos that he has from all these adventures. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you both, and it's an honor to be on here. I've been a fan, I think, pretty much since day one of your podcast, and I think not only are you all amassing a large audience, I think you're having a big impact with the work you're doing. And I believe in the work. And if anyone is wondering when to listen to Birdjoy podcast, when I listen to it is wake up before sunset. I got maybe an hour or two to drive. Pump a podcast or two on. It gets me hyped to go birding. So try it yourself. And then maybe when you're on the way home as well, listen to another one.
Love that, homie. Appreciate it. And for everybody out there, remember, birding is for everyone. And we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.